Go. So we left off on ML5. So we're going to start ML6 through 10. We'll quickly go through those and we'll get into Atlas Expanded, MITRE Atlas. We'll go into MIT repository, CVEs pertaining to AI, and Stride and Pasta. And security expert said, I'm actually very happy I did the Security Plus. I learned so much of the technical and security aspects of AI. Me too. It's a great certification. Shout out CompTIA. They know how to put knowledge bases together and it's very professionally done. I like the direction they were going with it. I like that they kept it technical because there's a lot of things in there. In me being in the industry now, I understand why they address those things. I'm like, wow, they nailed it. I got to say, they nailed it. Okay, but let's get into this. All right, so if you guys have any questions, I'm going to stick around after we get through this stuff. I'll address your questions after that. That goes for you too, TikTok. All right, so let's get into this ML6. What you'll find is on this test is you need to know the differences between OWASP, MITRE, and CVEs. If you know the differences between those, it's going to help you out with a lot of the direction that they try to go on this particular Sec AI Plus test. Without telling you any kind of specific questions or anything like that, if you know the differences, if you go just deep enough to know the differences between them, it's really going to help you out with the direction they go on some of the tests and some of the performance-based questions as well. Okay, let's start with ML6 and ML7. ML6 deals with AI supply chains. Supply chains is in every part of cloud, whether you go in the databases, you go into networking, supply chain is a part of it. And AI is no different. So when you think about supply chains, think about what all does it take for your system to work? Vendor do you use to use your operating system? What vendors do you use to use the applications that make your mission or business work? All of the things that are attached to that that make everything work together is called the supply chain. And AI also has a supply chain. So think of it like if your organization is using Chat GPT, right? Chat GPT, that company becomes a part and all the things, components you're using become part of your supply chain. Now, let's say in addition to that, you use a browser and that browser is from Microsoft and you have some plugins on that browser and the plugin, maybe it scrapes websites, brings in data for the AI to look through. So now you're using like 3 different tools and all those are part of your supply chain. Now they all become possible attack vectors, like places where an attacker and an adversary can use that against you. And I'm not going to spend too much time on these, but let's go back here. Okay. There we go. Let me go back. All right. Sorry about that. Other attack vectors would be like Hugging Face. And with AI, Face isn't like an app store for all things AI. So you'll find things like speech to text that use AI. You'll find things like visual things that can like AI that can take a picture and make the picture look like it's something else or add people in there or there's just all types of little tools you can use. Some of them very serious, some of them not so serious. Some of them are just as simple as like scripts that are added. There's just a whole bunch of very useful, cool tools from all over the world on Hugging Face. But unfortunately, it also can be an attack vector. It can be something that people take, manipulate, mess around with it, and hoping that other people will download it for free and then jack up their whole system or infiltrate their model or whatever, right? So Hugging Face is an attack vector that could attack the supply chain if your organization is using Hugging Face. Think of it like whenever you have apps in your app store. If whatever phone you use, you go to your app store, some of those apps might be compromised, right? If you download them to your phone, there's a possibility they're stealing your data, they're advertising to you like you don't want, or even worse, putting something on your system that you don't want. So that's an attack vector, that's supply chain attacks. Now, what can we do to minimize that type of attack would be things like validating where we're pulling that stuff from, right? Like we need to make sure that we're pulling this stuff from trusted sources. But one of the tricks that some of these app stores will have is people will design an app and the app will look exactly how the logo that will look just like a known vendor, the name will look just like a known vendor, and they're doing that on purpose so you can think it's from Google or from Microsoft, and you'll download it thinking it's whatever Copilot or whatever for your phone, and it's not. It's called Copilot Draft or something, or Copilot Pro, and they're hoping you download it, but it's not from the actual vendor. So one of the controls you got to do in your organization for AI is to validate where it's coming from. Another thing you can do is something called software composition analysis. That's where you're analyzing all the components and parts and pieces that you're using for AI. And this is the same thing that you do for AppSec, application security. You're going to do this same thing, something called SCA, or software composition analysis. So let's go to ML7. So ML7 is dealing with learning attack. So what is this? This is one of those things that is just to machine learning, but can be used outside of it. So this is dealing with where the attacker will poison the public foundational model. So if you didn't know, things like Olama, they're using a publicly available version, and then they build on it. Of course, they spend millions of dollars to make it even better. So Llama, they might poison Llama, like a publicly available learning model out there, poison that so that when people download it, now their model is jacked up. So that is transfer learning attack. Now, what can we do against that? We need to test it. Like whatever we download, we probably need to have a testing environment where we make sure that everything is good. Number one, making sure it comes from the proper sources, but then we need to test that model to make sure that nobody has done any kind of modifications that will mess around with our system as we build on top of that. So that is ML6 and ML7. And just to give you a visual of ML6, it's for supply chain. If the data set, the framework, the model base, fine tuning, whatever, if any part of this is poisoned, then the whole system is corrupt. And so that's is why it's really important to make sure that your data set is good, where you're getting your data from for your machine learning is good. The model base that you used is not poison. Every part of it is good. All right, so we're going to quickly cover ML8, ML9, ML10. Let's start off with ML8. So ML8 is where an attacker corrupts ongoing feedback loops after deployment. So think of it like this. One of the things that you got to do for this test is separate machine learning. Machine learning has cycles. And the first cycle is the actual data set, gathering the data set from the proper sources and then training the model. ML8 is talking about the model's already out there and people are trying to corrupt what is already out there. It's already been delivered, it's already deployed, and now they're trying to bias the model's learning from live data. They're taking the live data and feeding it over and over again to make it skewed in a certain way. They're trying to point it in a different direction. So an example here that I have on here, and I will give you guys all these slides. I know it's very busy and all this stuff, but I'm going to give you all of this. Bear with me. So a financial attacker submits thousands of fake good. They're saying that all of these payments are good, but they're coming from high risk borrowers, right? And this is, let's say this is some kind of a machine learning system for a financial sector, and it's supposed to identify if there's a high risk borrower versus a low risk borrower. And so what an attacker could do is keep sending information that is from high risk, but they're saying that it's a low risk, and they just keep doing it over and over again until the model starts to learn to go in a different direction. It's skewing it in a whole different direction. So what are the controls that we can use for this would be anomaly detection. If somebody is sending skewed information, one of the things we can do is look for anomalies. Look for something that's repeated, coming from the same source over and over again. that might ring some alarm bells where we're like, wait a minute, what is going on? Who is this? What are they saying? And then you would read deeper into it. So monitoring is going to help with that. Another thing is human in the loop. Make sure that a person is there to monitor information, especially if it's dealing with something like payments. You probably want to have someone looking at the set of payments and how it's labeled so that you're picking up things like this. So that's